Well, welcome to Echo. This is, I believe, the first story that the Echo project did, and this is almost done. The only route that needs to be done is Jenna's right here, but every other person's route is done, and I will be starting with Carl since that's the first one you're supposed to do anyways. But yeah, I will probably record the whole route and then post it instead of just like doing it in episodes. And yeah, well, let's begin. This is also an adult visual novel, so better be of age. I knew you'd be back. You all come back eventually. Why do you try to run away in the first place? It doesn't matter. Even though you're here, you're going to try to run again. Just stop. Because just like this town, you're only moving in circles. Echo, Saturday. Yeah, Mom, I brought it. No, I got everything. No, TJ's with us. We picked him up yesterday. No, I did call you yesterday. There was no answer. Fine. Yeah, I'll try more than once next time. Of course they're clean. Listen, I'm driving right now, so I shouldn't be on the phone, should I? I'm gonna hang up. Okay, love you too. Bye. I sigh and finally hang up the phone, dropping it on my lap. TJ, next to me in the passenger seat, stretches back and scratches behind his ear. Aw, that's cute. It's been a while since I've seen your mom. How is she? I shrug. Fine, I think. She wouldn't tell me if she wasn't, anyway. TJ taps a foot against the dashboard before yawning. Wow, it feels like we've been driving for days. Normally, TJ wasn't one to whine, but the long drive was obviously getting to him. It was getting to all of us, honestly. I look over at him. We're almost there. Why don't you listen to some music or something? My phone's been dead for the past 2 hours. I didn't know it would take us 8 hours to get there. I sigh. Whether that dig was purposefully or not, I still feel a little embarrassed. I'll admit, I got us lost for a few hours. Route 93 is hard to find, even with the GPS. It's no wonder that Echo's in the state it's in. You should have brought a book. Those don't run out of batteries. I look up at the rearview mirror and see Jenna holding up a hefty book titled Cognition. TJ sighs. All of my books are on my phone. Why don't you listen to the radio? TJ starts to reach for the dial. Don't bother. All I got out here are Hicks stations. I have some music on my phone though. Do you have an aux cable, Chase? In this clunker? No. But like I said, we're almost there. Just having the three of us is a little awkward, unbalanced. I wonder if completing our little group will bring back the old chemistry. Thinking about seeing Carl, Flynn, and Leo again makes my heart skip a beat. Take exit run 127 onto Flint Road. I jerk back to the present and press on the brakes as I swerve onto the exit ramp. Whoa! Sorry. Chase, come on, pay attention. TJ adds a little giggle to lighten the chastisement, but my face gets hot anyways. Hey, me and Jenna went 3 hours out of our way to pick you up from CCU. You could have taken the bus. No, I'm grateful. I just rather this not be the place I die. Ha 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 ha. We continue down Flint Road for about 15 minutes in silence while I avoid the ever-increasing number of potholes in the road. I think we're all a little nervous now that we're getting closer to our destination. Unsurprisingly, there isn't another car in sight. You guys excited? I look in the rearview mirror again and see that Jenna has put down her book, staring out the window. I actually haven't given a whole lot of thought as to how I feel about the whole thing. I don't know, it's been a while since we've all been together. Think things will be the same? I'm at Echo. Are you excited to go back? Oh, I didn't really know how to answer that. Is excited the right word? I'm sure as hell stressful. It sure as hell is stressful. As long as we get to go for a hike. I don't want to be sitting around in the motel all day. Well, it beats having a heat stroke in the desert. Are you seriously hiking that trail? Oh, come on, it'll be fun. At least I know Chase will come. TJ smiles at me, raising in his brows. It's too hard to say no to such an eager face, at least right now. Yeah, of course. Anyway, it sounds like you're only got the boys on your mind, Chase. Leo, maybe? Make a slight right onto Lake Emma Road. I ignore Jenna, pretending to be distracted, adjusting the GPS. A few more minutes of silence pass before Jenna speaks up again. So, this news thing you're making, what's it about exactly? I swerve a little to avoid another pothole. A news packet. If you remember, there was that one crazy thing that happened here in the early 1900s. I mean, I read a little bit about it and it's pretty fucked up. Come on, Chase, language! Just thought I'd do a little bit more digging. Honestly, though, I just need to make something that looks good enough to pass with. Well, that sounds kind of fun. Are you gonna have enough time to hang out? I know Leo made some plans. This whole thing was Leo's idea, actually. When I told him I'd be coming down to Echo for spring break, he suggested we all use it as an excuse to have a reunion. He says it hasn't been the same since the three of us left. Yeah, I should. I just need some B-roll and shots of the old, creepy locations. Shouldn't take too long. I catch a flash of blue and see the lake to our right. The conversation dies down a bit, and pretty soon we're all lost in our own thoughts. Finally, we round a bend, and I start to catch some glimpses of the town. The tall, rusted signs for the gas station and motel loom over the rest of the old community. Lake Emma Road merges right onto Main Street where the motel is at. Soon enough, we're turning into the parking lot. There are only a few other cars in the parking lot. I park in the closest spot next to the door and switch off the ignition, revealed to be done with the driving. Relieved. My God. I sit back for a moment, rubbing my eyes. Ugh. Hope you're grateful, TJ. I never want to drive that long again. Thanks, Chase. TJ hops out of the car, clearly happy to be out. This is another cat I hate. Ugh. TJ puts his paws on his back and stretches out from toes to ear tufts, and I hear a few cracks. Gosh, it feels good to be out here. I smile as I follow him out and stretch as well, though less flamboyantly. It's good to see TJ reverting back to his old, cheerful self. Alright, I made the reservations. I'll go check us in. You boys want to bring in our stuff? Sure. Me and TJ head around the back of the trunk of the car, getting our bags and camera equipment while Jenna heads inside. I'm pleasantly surprised. While it's a bit musty, the room is spacious and generally clean, a lot more than I was expecting from a town like Echo. Although I've lived in the town for most of my life, I've never actually been in the motel. Hey, this is nice! 2 double beds? Yeah, thought I'd get one of the nicer rooms, since everything here is dirt cheap. TJ sets his bags down on the bed. So, I guess this'll be me and Chase's bed? Jenna can have her own, obviously. That's nice of you, TJ. Anyway, here are your key cards. She hands us both our key cards, which I slip into my back pocket. So, when are we gonna eat? I'm starving. My stomach rumbles. We haven't eaten since breakfast, and it's late afternoon at this point. I pull out my phone, checking over my texts with Leo. Leo said he's gonna get us some sandwiches from the diner. Did you tell? Yes, I told him to substitute the bread with lettuce for yours, TJ. Nice. Alright, well, I've texted everyone that we're here. Let's at least unpack. It's going to get crowded and I don't want all our stuff in the way. Half an hour later, we've all got our stuff packed away in the motel drawers. Now I'm sitting on my bed toying with my camera equipment while TJ watches TV and Jenna organizes her schoolwork. You know we're on vacation, right? And didn't you already get into grad school? You should relax. That's exactly why I need to be keeping up. There's a knock at the door, and being the closest, I get up to answer it. I'll get it. I look at the people excitedly and see a beanie cap with a pair of some very familiar horns poking through it. I grin as I unlock the door and swing it open. Carl! Jace! I slap paws with him and pull him into a hug, and immediately get a whiff of the pungent scent of pot. Despite that, his embrace is warm and plush, and his belly squishes against my body like a pillow through his jacket. There is an underlying sturdiness, though, and I feel his biceps bulge around my shoulders. Had he been working out? I put my paws on his shoulders and push back, looking him over. He's changed a bit since I've last seen him, because he has new sprites. He's definitely bulkier, and the fur on his face is a bit shaggier. His eyes are a little red, and his expression is a little glazed, like he's daydreaming about some place far away from here. Still getting blazed, huh? You know it. His joking nature drops a bit as he gives me a genuine smile. It's good to see you again. I feel warm inside as I smile back. You too. Is that Carl I hear? I don't know why I'm giving her like a weird accent even though she's Midwestern. They're all Midwestern. Carl and I step back into the room and the ram remaining slouched as we do. Hey Jenna. Carl, how you been? Not bad, just living life like I'm a bee. Oh my god, I don't know why I'm doing these voices. It sounds like he's starting to sing the lyrics to a song, but he trails off as we look at him expectantly. He just smiles back. Huh? Hey, is that TJ? Hi! Though he's smiling happily, TJ is outright crinkling his nose. Still up to your old habits, Carl shrugs. I'm starting to remember that it's something he does a lot. It's his answer to almost everything. It gets quiet for a moment, then I clap my paws together. So, what have you been up to, Carl? You're not online that often. Carl shrugs. Oh, you know, just hanging out. Must be kind of boring considering it's Echo. Not going outside helps. You've been able to find a job? I know they closed the old corner market you used to work at. Yeah, been kinda hard since pretty much everything closing around here. On top of that, I still don't have a car that can get me to Peyton. Oof, that's right. You crashed the one your parents got you. TJ grinning sympathetically, but Carl hunches further into himself, looking sulky. Man, don't kill my vibe. What about school? You've been thinking about going back? Not really. Maybe. Carl's starting to lose that faraway look as he narrows his eyes. You should. You went for what, a semester? That's not really enough time to tell if you're really cut for college. Classes get easier to handle once you get used to it. Yeah, well, it wasn't exactly the schoolwork that was a problem. It was Chase. You could try smoking less weed. That might help. What? Was I set up for an intervention or something? Carl looks over at me as if asking for help. Hey, don't look at me. I had to deal with them for the past 10 hours. Yeah, guess I just forgot how naggy they can be. That's because we care about you, Carl. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Chase has been missing you ever since you left school. Carl and I were in the same class through school. As a result, we entered college together. We even roomed together for one semester, which was a lot of fun. Of course I had missed him. Carl seems pretty eager to get off the topic though. Speaking of school, didn't you get accepted into Weston, Jenna? Yep, going with experimental psych. I start in the fall. That's pretty cool, congrats. Carl turns back to me. And you're into journalism, right? He looks over at the equipment looking confused. What's all this? Oh, yeah, one of the reasons why I'm out here. I'm doing a new segment on Echo. Sounds like the feel-good movie of the year, Chase. That's what you get out of the feel-good town of the century, Carl. Yeah. Carl scratches his muzzle before turning to TJ. And you're doing what again? Sports? Something? Bible Olympics? Athletic training. But yes, it's a Christian school. Carl gives a thumbs up. Super. So, we gonna eat? I'm hungry as hell. Hell is a little extreme there, Carl. Not even you can be that hungry. Hehehe. Sure. Where's Leo? He's bringing the sandwiches, right? He actually just texted me that he's here. He was picking up Flynn. So we're all gonna be here? Just like old times? TJ almost looks like a little kid Lynx again, his ears twitching around with excitement. Oh, there they are. I grip the bedspread and watch as Carl moves around the corner to open the door. I hear it open, followed by the distinctive, deep, brassy voice of Flynn. How would I do that? Hey, why are you getting the door, fatty? To get my sandwiches, dickface. I've got the munchies like a mother. Where are they? Leo has them. Here he is. This would be the only character that would actually sound like me because he's, I guess Hispanic? Hey, they all in there? My heart skips a beat and my tail thumps the bed as I hear Leo's high baritone. There's some bustling before they start coming around the corner, bringing me face to face with the rest of my childhood friends. Flynn comes first, slinking in casually, his posture loose and relaxed, slouching. Unlike Carl, though, his slouch makes him look like he just doesn't give a fuck, as opposed to just trying to make himself seem smaller. He wasn't a shy guy, as evidenced by his open shirt. And who you calling a dick face? Flynn knocks Carl on his head, which makes a loud thunking sound, but Carl just grins throughout. Hey Jenna, TJ, Chase. He nods at each of us in turn, rubbing his knuckles. Immediately following him, his arms wrapped around two big brown paper bags, is Leo. He smiles over the top of the bags, sweeping the room with his eyes along with his tail, with his tall rectangular ears. I don't know what's a tail. He pauses on Jenna, then TJ, before finding me. His face immediately breaks into a full-on grin as he walks over to the bed I'm sitting on, setting down the bags. As he comes to a stop in front of me, I reach out for my paw to slap his, like I did with Carl. Instead, he grabs it to yank me right up into a tight bear hug, nearly squeezing the air out of me. Chase! Man, I missed you. Just like Carl, it seems like Leo's gotten bigger and stronger. He lifted me up without even trying. The tension I've been feeling in my chest melts away like an ice cube on an Echo sidewalk. Everything's fine. All of that worry about how he was going to react was for nothing. Oh, just you wait. The hug is lasting kinda long though. I can feel everyone else looking at us. Awkward. And just like that, he forgets we exist. Leo finally pulls back, then smacking me on the shoulder before turning to greet Jenna and TJ. I shakingly sit back down, feeling a whole lot better now that the introductions are out of the way. Fuck, leave Carl in a room for 5 seconds and it smells like goddamn skunk sauna. The weed is just oozing out of your pores at this point. Flynn theatrically plugs his nostrils as he pulls the window open a crack. Carl rolls his eyes, slouching further and jamming his paws in his pockets. Oh, shut up. I think everyone here agrees that the smell is a lot better than your shedding. Nothing like leaving a big pile of lizard dust on the couch for the next person. And by the way, dude, that skunk comment was specious. And that lizard comment wasn't. Flynn turns to me, fanning the air from the outside with his hand. What's worse, Chase? Carl's smell or my dusting off? Ha, dusting off? That's not a thing. Try saying white flakes that chip off me every step I take, except that I scratch my ass, then it's like a fucking blizzard of dead skin. And then, some of it might land in your mouth. That's what you should call it. Hey, you furballs do it too, it's just less noticeable. Either way, it's hot in here. Aren't you cold-blooded? Someone turned down the fucking thermostat. Somebody turned down your language. Ha ha ha. TJ says it to him like a cheerful kindergarten teacher pep talking his student into using his words. They stare at each other for about 5 seconds, Flynn's expression like a stone, while TJ slowly loses his smile. Well, Jesus but fucking Christ. I'll be sure to watch that. Flynn! TJ actually looks pretty upset, but Flynn just reaches out and yanks him a little into a cheeky hold. The much shorter lynx easily dwarfed by the lizard. Oh, shut up, you priss. I'm just kidding. TJ half-heartedly fights the hold. I guess TJ thought he'd get some respect now that we're all adults. Hey, ow! You still said it. I normally might step into help, but it's been a while since I've seen Flynn and TJ go at it. It's just too funny to stop. Look, no lightning. So much for your almighty. Ugh! TJ jabs his elbow back into Flynn's stomach, doubling the lizard over for a second. Ha! See? God works in mysterious. Ugh! Flynn reaches up and grabs at one of the tufts on TJ's ears and yanks, earning a yowl from the feline. Foul, specious features. Species features was something we made up to make our tussles a little bit more fair. It involved any distinct physical difference between our species that might pose as a disadvantage, like my tail, Jenna's ears, or TJ's ear tufts. Carl was especially keen on it, being a ram. His horns were often used as leverage against him. TJ, come get your sandwich. TJ finally yanks himself out of Flynn's grasps, smoothing down his fur as he tries to look as dignified as possible. Well, I can see things haven't changed. With that, TJ walks over to the table to get his food. I can't help but laugh. I think TJ won that one, by a technicality. Or did he? He might have fouled too. Flynn's got a soft lizard belly. Flynn snorts, rubbing his stomach. Oh, don't even try to tell me about soft, asshole. It looks like you swallowed a beach ball. Speaking of which, food. We all pass the bags around to get our food. A chicken sandwich for Jenna and TJ, roast beef for me and Leo, and 3 large veggie burgers that almost take up their own bag for Carl. Flynn, as usual, isn't eating anything. I think it's a lizard thing. I keep my seat on the bed as I unwrap the foil around the sandwich. The smell wafts up from the beef, making my mouth water and bringing some memories up with it. We'd all spent many nights at the old diner. I can remember the night me and Carl graduated. Leo took us straight from Peyton High to the diner, skipping out on the all-night graduation party for sandwiches and milkshakes. I take a huge bite. A yellow bell pepper slips out from the other end, landing back in the foil. Whoosh! Slow down, you're gonna choke. Suddenly, I'm almost falling over the side as something heavy plants itself next to me on the bed. I quickly grab a napkin and bring it up to my muzzle, wiping away the grease. Hey, Leo. Should I say Leo or Leo? I'll just call him Leo. Leo chuckles at my embarrassment and unwraps his own sandwich. Sorry if the bread is a little soggy. Garrobo over here took his sweet time getting to the car. Hey, working in town hall is serious business. I don't have a family business I can just waltz out of like you. Hey Flynn, I'll bet you that I can eat this whole burger in 1 minute. Is that a fucking joke? Of course you can. Ha, yeah, but what about 2 burgers? Don't choke, Carl. I decide to keep the conversation on Leo's job, since that's the whole reason why he's still here. Is business still pretty good? Yeah. Peyton's getting bigger, so is the number of customers. I guess it's a good thing your dad moved it out of the Echo, huh? For sure. The place is turning into a ghost town. It'll probably be in another decade or 2. By some standards, it already is. I take another bite of the sandwich, biting right into another bell pepper. I'd forgotten how good the diner food is. I noticed TJ sitting next to Jenna on the table, picking unhappily at his lettuce wrap chicken. Jenna seems to as well as she leans towards him. What's wrong, TJ? She's like the mom of the group. It's just... Never mind. It doesn't matter. Are you sure? It's just the mayo. I forgot they put it on everything here. Hehehe. My god, I hate him so much. Jenna lifts up the bun on her sandwich, inspecting its contents. None of the mayo really got on my chicken. Here. No, you don't have... Jenna picks up TJ's sandwich and swaps it out with his grilled chicken. She rubs off the layer of mayo-tainted lettuce from the lettuce bun before wrapping her chicken in. Here, how's that? Thanks. It's then that TJ looks up and sees Leo and I staring at him as his ears flatten in embarrassment. What? Nothing, TJ, nothing. So your parents still letting you live in the house here in Echo? Yes, we actually tried to sell it last year, but of course no one bought it. I think 2 people came to look, but took off once they saw the town. Anyway, my parents are living in Peyton in a house twice as big as the old one. Well, it must be pretty cool living in your own house. My parents aren't constantly breathing down my neck, so that's, nice. Leo's already finished his first sandwich, and now he's unwrapping the second. My god, these people eat. He sure could eat a lot. How many people are still here anyway? In the town, I mean. Leo takes another bite, and I hear the crunch of the peppers through his muzzle. He's chewing thoughtfully for a moment before swallowing. Not too much, of course. I know almost everyone here, but most don't actually live here anymore. Most everyone's turned their old house into some sort of vacation home now. Really? Why? I can't imagine anyone coming here for a vacation. Unless your hobbies are meth or dying of heat stroke. Well, they've all got their old houses here, and it's cheap to build. And the town is actually trying to turn the old lake into a recreational thing. Lake Emma? Yeah, they're putting in docks and stuff. Huh. Lake Emma is the old reservoir just a few minutes outside of town. As kids, we used to play around there all the time. It was generally an ugly place. Dead fish on the banks, a terrible smell, and mosquitoes everywhere. Then again, it could have changed since then. I haven't been here in 12 years now. None of us have. Thinking about the lake is making my stomach tighten again, forcing away my appetite in the process. It's been so long at this point. I need to learn to get over things. Actually, that reminds me. The others are pretty deep in their own conversations, but I lower my voice anyway, leaning into Leo. Hey Leo. Leo turns to me. He had been in the middle of a massive bite, and now he has a bell pepper half hanging out of his muzzle. That throws off my train of thought for a second. Oh yeah, so I wanted to get some shots of the lake for my project. Leo ducks his head a little to pull out the pepper from his muzzle, only to shove it back in a second later. He chews for a while, but his ears are still tipped towards me, so I go on. It's kind of important to Echo's history. Anyway, you told me that on Monday everyone's free during lunch. I can tell by the set of Leo's ears that he knows where I'm going, and he's not into the idea. I quickly go on. Of course, we don't have to, but it's been a long time, and if the town is making it look better, it could be fun? ? Listen, Chase. I feel my face burn a little under that fur. Sorry, it was a dumb idea. No, Chase. If it were up to me, I'd definitely do it. It's just... Leo looked towards Flynn, and I do as well, finding him still bantering with Carl. It doesn't matter how fucking fast you eat. It's not gonna be... I'm not gonna be impressed. He's got that classic Flynn look on his face where he's pressing his lips together, trying not to smile. What if I ate all 3? You've already eaten most of the first one, so that's not gonna happen now, is it? I look back down at my sandwich. I suddenly feel really guilty. Here I am, back after 3 years, just assuming that I know how everyone's feeling. Now I'm kind of feeling like an imposter. Chase is looking kind of sus. Leo notices, like he always did, and he nudges me with his shoulder. Hey, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Suddenly, Leo's ears perk up, and I know he suddenly had an idea. His ears made him easily readable, just as reading people came easily to him. It made it all the more impressive that he was actually able to tell what most of us were thinking, considering my short, stubby ears. Or Flynn's lack thereof. Listen, there's a cool little spot by the river that's actually pretty close to the lake. We could have lunch, and you could walk over and get your shots. The idea makes me feel a little better. Alright, that could be fun. Also, this motel doesn't have a pool, so it'll be really nice to swim in something. Otters in their water. Anyway, I have to ask Flynn, but I think he'll be okay with it. No, he won't. What would really impress me is if you don't eat the rest. You're a funny guy, Flynn. Carl goes right back to shoving the next burger into his mouth as Flynn looks on in mild disgust. He suddenly notices us watching him, and he gives us an odd look, but that slowly morphs into a smirk as he focuses on Leo. You're looking pretty happy there, Leo. Not like you've been for the past 3 years. I furrow my brow in confusion and look up at Leo. I see him shift, and he's giving Flynn a look that I don't quite understand. Well, of course. I'm happy to see us all back together. I look from Leo to Flynn, and it's pretty easy to imagine a bolt of electricity between them. You should have seen him, Chase. He'd go days without smiling. Agreed. Leo's been kind of a dick since you guys left. Isn't Jenna a counselor? Hey, you should have a session with Leo. I'm still an undergrad. I'm not going to counseling anyway. That would just make me sad. TJ is busy trying to hold his sandwich together and eat it at the same time. Not very successfully, but he looks up as well. Oh my god. Leo, depressed? It's hard to imagine you're not smiling. You seem fine online. Has something been going on, Leo? For the first time since he's arrived, Leo looks truly uncomfortable. I don't see him like that very often. Flynn, on the other hand, has his trying not to smirk face. What? Leo pauses, pinned down by everyone's eyes in the room. Then he takes a frustrated breath. Can't people be sad sometimes? Yes, things have been they have been harder, but I'm fine. I think it's pretty clear that Flynn, Leo flicks his long muzzle at the lizard, is just trying to get some reaction. Sure, I'm just saying, you're back to your old self. But seriously, it's great. Leo makes a snorting sound. I'm about to ask Leo what's so stressful when he lifts his paw up again to take a bite of his almost finished sandwich. I go quiet as I look at his paw. A silver anchor, tied around his wrist with leather. The word otter is stretched into the shank of the anchor. The name Chase is engraved into the stock. Why was he still... Chase! I jump as TJ's voice breaks through my trance, bouncing on the bed once I come back down. Leo looks at me as the bed wobbles, an eyebrow raised. TJ puts a paw to his muzzle. Oops, sorry, you were just kind of staring off into space. Yeah, just thinking about stuff. What's up? We were talking about the last game. Didn't you tell me that you saw the movie on the drive here? I really don't get you right now, TJ. The last game was the worst Lions Brigade movie. You're just mad because they didn't follow the comics. Yeah, Carl, as a movie, it was just better. I'm sure the comics are great too, though. Hee hee hee. Now, the comics are shit. Nah, the comics are shits. Carl tried showing them to me once. Bah! See, this is the problem. They never follow the source material, and no one cares because they have no respect for the originals, man. You're way too picky, Carl. The last game was a great movie. Not you too, Leo. I don't know, I think the Lions Brigade was always a bit too violent for me. What was all this shooting and punching? I've always liked the Trinity Weasel. He's the thinking man's superhero. Carl waves his paw dismissively. Why does everybody wave their paw dismissively? The Trinity comics have always been pretty tame. Or lame. They're jerk-off fodder for lonely nerds. And so's the movie. Ha, you mean like yourself? Hey. Hold up, we're talking about Trinity now? Julia Blasco? She's hella fine. I'd never seen an ass like hers on a weasel before. That's because it's fake. No, I just like the story. It's really kind of deep if you think about it. It was hard to think about when half the shots are slow-mo and they're doing all these flips and back bends and shit. I didn't think that was your sort of thing anyway, Flynn. Flynn doesn't have time to retort before Jenna shifts her attention, seemingly coming to TJ's defense, just like a mom. Come on, Trinity does have more story going on than your average superhero movie. I think it's great that you like her character over all the meatheads. Yeah, they just stuck in all the boob shots to reel in the dummies. Of course, that's easy for someone like you to say. Besides, I see what's going on here. Maybe you should watch Lucha Lobo, TJ. He's shirtless the whole time. TJ's ears go flat, tufts pointed at the ground. I'd better stop it with all the saucy talk. The only way this could get any more awkward is if you got sprung. We all groan in unison, but TJ shoots right back. And knowing you, that's exactly what you want to happen, isn't it, Flynn? That gets a few surprised chuckles. Damn, TJ, where'd that come from? It isn't that it's a particularly good joke, it's that it came from TJ that makes it so funny. I don't think I've heard him talk like that. Even Flynn can't keep from grinning a bit. We talk late into the afternoon. At this point, all of my worries have disappeared, leaving a happy, warm feeling in its place. It seems silly that I was so nervous earlier. In fact, I'm starting to look forward to the rest of the week. Alright. Leo steps forward, indicating that we should all shut up. Now, we all need to remember that Chase is here to do his school project, so that comes first. But I did make some other plans for things that we can do on his off time. I'm pretty sure all of us know that we're going to Southwest Adventure tomorrow, so I'll pick these two up. He jerks his head towards Flynn and Carl. Then swing by the motel to get you guys at 9, right? Sounds good. Then I was thinking about doing some stuff in Peyton towards the end of the week, but we'll make those plans later. In between those times, we should find time to hang out as well. Make the most of it. Leo looks about done, but suddenly snaps his fingers as if remembering something. Oh yeah, Chase, I saw you had a camera. Think you could get a few pics of us? It would be nice for all of us to have something that isn't camera phone quality. Oh, sure. I was messing with the self-timer earlier. Should be able to get it to work. After a few minutes of me adjusting the tripod and Leo adjusting everyone at the end of one of the beds, we managed to get into position. Alright, here goes. I set the timer and fast walked to the spot Leo saved for me. Let me guess, it's going to be right next to him. Such a nice picture. For the next 2 hours, we watched a movie on TV, not really paying attention, mostly catching up with each other on how we'd been. It's good to be back, and it feels like we're all just picking up where we left off 3 years ago. It's really nice. Finally, at about 10, Leo, Carl, and Flynn head out. I spend the next 20 minutes tinkering with the equipment, making sure it's all in order for shooting the next day. Once TJ finishes getting ready for bed in the bathroom, I do as well before getting into bed, head to toe with TJ. There's a soft glow from the corner as Jenna sits at the table reading something. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, waiting for her to go to sleep. There's a chain attached to my ankle as I walk away from the lake, my legs and feet caked in mud. I look back, seeing the chain snaking back around the rocks and reading before disappearing into the water. Looking ahead again, I see Leo. He's smiling, waving at me. I walk towards him and the chain stays slack, pulling easily out of the water. There's an anchor in the lake, I say. I stare at him, but he doesn't say anything and just keeps on smiling. I crouch on the rocks, wrap the chain around my wrist a few times. Leo kneels next to me, rubbing my back and sticking out his arm to compare our bracelets, saying that everyone's got one. He seems happy, but now I'm stuck here. I can't even stand up. Gee, I wonder why you're tied to the lake. Sunday. It's still Sunday. Payton is about a bit of a distance away. To get there, you have to get to Route 93, which Flynn tells me isn't even called that anymore. By the way, when I do everybody else's route, I'm probably going to skip this, because obviously this is going to be the same up until a certain point. That would make sense considering how it was impossible to find on the GPS. Anyway, I get to the city. To get to the city, you have to merge from the remnants of 93 onto I-40, which runs straight through the city of Payton. About 15 minutes from Payton, we pull over at the rest stop, which sits at a higher elevation than Echo. If you're looking in the right direction, it gives you a great view of the town. I stand outside the old, run-down restroom, a paw over my eyes as I stare out over the desert. A distant, hazy view of a group of small buildings huddled together signals where the town is. From this vicarious distance, it looks small and harmless. Hard to imagine all the things that happened here. Or there, I mean. Alright, how do we use this thing? I look over and see Leo fumbling with the camera, obviously worried that he's going to break it. I walk over and show him how to use it, checking the white balance and exposure himself. I wasn't too good with the cameras, but the equipment manager at the university had given me a quick lesson on how to do things. That said myself, not himself, right? Alright, so I want you to zoom out from Echo, slowly, and while you do that, I'm going to walk in the frame, okay? Yeah, okay. Leo hoists the camera up and looks through the viewfinder, ears perked up and smiling. Alright, signal me when you're ready. I adjust the clip-on mic while Leo focuses the camera, then raises his paw, signaling that I should start. I walk it to frame, keeping one paw in my pocket and using the other to gesture. I hope I don't look too awkward. I always feel like I do. Echo first began as a settlement in 1852, after James Hendricks discovered gold in a quartz deposit. The town grew quickly in size, and once it began to serve as a junction along the Prescott Railway, it reached a peak population of 6,500. My god, I'm bad with numbers. In 1877. Actually, I'm bad with everything. It was at this point in time that a particular phenomenon of mass hysteria took over. Many say that the reason this occurred was due to the discovery of a body within the gold mine, and that the circumstances surrounding that discovery. While not much is known about this event, what is known is that once it ended, a large portion of the population left Echo. Most of those that left settled in the nearby town of Payton. However, the town still managed to prosper well enough into the 40s. That's when the government stepped in to shut down the mine, as it had become a federal law to divert all mining resources to the war effort. The town's population sharply declined shortly thereafter, and, by the 1950s, had dwindled to approximately 2,000 people. A shutdown of the Prescott Railway in the 1960s, followed by the bypassing of Route 93 and I-40 in 1986, was the final nail in the coffin for the town. By the 90s, the population had dwindled to just 150 people. My goal, however, is to investigate the first event which led to the town's decline and possibly demise. What happened in the mine almost 150 years ago. I've come to Echo to try to find out that information, if any, can be gleaned from the events of the past. I waited for a few seconds, then looked at Leo. That good? Yeah, don't know how to stop this though. Here. I walk over to take the heavy camera off Leo's paws. That was pretty good. You want to be a reporter? Maybe. I'd rather just write than be on a camera though. Yo, Jays! Leo and I look over towards the cars, greeted by the sight of a bright white ram's ass hanging out the back window of Leo's van. I don't really react. I mean, despite being self-conscious about his weight, Carl was pretty shameless about stuff like this. I'd probably seen his naked butt more often than I'd seen Leo's, and that was saying something. Make sure you get a shot of my... Hey! At that moment, Flynn, who's sitting next to Carl in the back, reaches over and yanks the ram's pants down so that they hang around his knees. Even though Carl's pretty quick to pull them back up, I still get a pretty good view of his equally white balls dangling between his legs. Leo snorts, and I can see Flynn laughing his ass off while Carl punches him in the shoulder. Unfortunately for TJ, who's sitting in the middle row with Jenna, he was looking back at the time and probably got a much better view than I did. Now he's facing forward, covering his face, while Jenna sits next to him, reading a book, looking uninterested. Nearly 21, and he's still doing that, huh? Yeah, it's a little more awkward without you three around. We head back to the car, and I grab the camera bag from the passenger seat to put the camera away. Hey, did you see my ass? Saw more than that. Your things about the horrors of Echo, right? It'll be a perfect fit. Well, if you could fit it on the camera. I stashed the camera bag in the footwell before hopping in. Southwest Adventures is an amusement park right in the middle of Peyton. It's a decent enough that people come not just from Peyton, but cities up to 100 miles away to vacation here. Because of this, it's usually crowded, and today is no exception. Families and their kids are everywhere. It's a generally nice day, sunny in the 80s, and it being a Sunday added to the crowd. I didn't mind though. The point of this is to hang out with my friends. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starving. Let's get some funnel cake. Jesus, Carl, we just got here. Hey, I haven't had any breakfast. You had breakfast, all right. A blunt with a side of munchies. It's no problem. We can do that while I plan out what we're doing. Carl ambles off on his way to the funnel cake stand. I snagged one of the park maps from the entrance and I handed it to Leo. Alright, so usually when my family comes here, we go clockwise to hit all the rides. That sounds like a plan. It's pretty crowded today, so we'll probably won't be able to do everything. But in this order, we'll at least be able to ride Event Horizon. You sure? The line is always so long for that ride. TJ's looking up towards a tall, spiraling, electric red steel roller coaster. It's definitely the most recognizable landmark in the park. You could see it from anywhere in Peyton. Yep, fastest and tallest roller coaster in the West. I think it'll be worth it. I don't know, maybe 6 Flags and something like that. Oh. TJ rubs his arm with one paw, the corner of his muzzle twitching a little bit. I had forgotten about that. He used to have a pretty pronounced motor tic where the corner of his mouth would twitch up over and over again. It used to be a constant thing, but it stopped once we entered middle school. Guess it hadn't completely gone away. You alright, TJ? We could skip the big rides if you're... Oh hell, TJ. You're a fucking adult now. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just haven't been on a roller coaster in a while. TJ snaps his head back towards us. He's all tensed up and the movements look like a rubber band being snapped. I'm riding all the rides with you guys. TJ walks off, his paws shoved deep in his pockets. I feel bad for him. I want to give him an out somehow, but that's when Carl comes back with his funnel cake. It's topped with ice cream, powdered sugar, and strawberries. That actually sounds good. Anyone want to share? Yeah, that looks really good. No? Alright, guess I'll have to eat the whole thing. Great, now we gotta wait for the fat ass to finish eating. Carl pulls his face out of the cake. Even with his white fur, I can see the powdered sugar clinging to his chin. Nah, I can eat it in line. We go down to Event Horizon first? That'll be over an hour's wait, at least. The line ends up being 2 hours long, and by the time we get to the actual ride, I'm dying to get it to a pool of any kind. To put it bluntly, an otter needs water. Part of the problem of living in Echo meant that we didn't have any kind of indoor pool system in our house, being as cheap as it was. We ended up having to get an outdoor swimming pool, which was a pain. Nervous, Chase? I smirk at him. I've written it before, Leo. Though, your tail's kinda down. Sure you're not nervous? Eh? Come on, Leo, let's ride the front. Oh, I don't know. I watch as Jenna pulls Leo towards the line for the front, which is twice as long as all the others. I opt for the middle, and it just so happens that TJ comes with me. His tufted ears had been poking straight up the entire time, muzzle giving an occasional twitch. I lean over to him. You know, there's an exit over there for people who, change their mind. I'll bet you could slip out without anyone knowing. Looks like not all of us are gonna be riding the same train. TJ stares straight ahead, clutching onto the rails. I see his sharp claws unsheathed, pressing into the metal and chipping away some of the red paint. No, I'm fine. You sure? Yep, perfectly fine. Well, we're in the middle, which is the best place to be if you don't like roller coasters. Uh-huh. Yeah. I really wanted to be able to get TJ to skip the ride, but it seems like he's pretty determined to do it for some reason. Finally, our train comes along, and I step in as two laughing and panting hyenas step out. Oh my god, that was so intense! Holy shit, dude! I know, I never get scared on rides, but I almost fucking pissed myself! I do a quick check of the seat to make sure there isn't any actual piss before sitting down. I look up and see TJ standing on the edge of the platform, his eyes wide, one foot stuck out to get on. TJ, I, I. A bored-looking teenage fox comes by to check my lap bar, and I stick out my paw. Hey, wait, TJ, you getting on? The fox goes from from looking bored to looking mildly annoyed. If you're getting on, you need to get on. We can't hold up the entire ride for you, sir. The exit's that way over there, that where the other adventurers await. People look around at us, starting to notice. Unfortunately, Flynn, who was lined up with Carl towards the back, is paying very close attention, grinning like he knew this was going to happen. Aw, TJ too scared. Guess you're a pussy after all. You know, 'cause he's a cat. Shut up, Flynn. Hey, TJ. When it all gets really bad, just say to yourself, at least I'm not gonna die. Hmm. Actually, a few people have. TJ! I yell up at him and see him. It seems to jar TJ out of his trance. He almost falls into the car as he stumbles into it, fumbling with his shoulder restraints before the fox attendant sighs and leans down to do it for him. I can see the red on the inside of TJ's ears as he blushes, and I feel my own ears burn a little from secondhand embarrassment. Now that it's too late, I realize that we shouldn't have started with this ride. We should have started with something smaller to build up his confidence. I'm jolted back as the train moves forward. Oh gosh! TJ's paws lash out and latch onto my arm. Oh no, why am I doing this? I reach over to try and move his paws from my arm, and back onto the handle of his shoulder restraint. TJ, hold on to that, my arm, you're gonna... Quiet, Chase, quiet! I pause, staring at the lynx. I'm really not used to hearing TJ yell. He's almost puffed out twice the size. I need to get some quiet right now and Our train begins its ascent up the first hill, and I can feel TJ's claws prickling through my fur into the skin. He starts mumbling quietly to himself, his eyes closed. TJ, are you praying? He doesn't say anything, and soon we've reached the apex of the climb. I give up trying to move his paw and sit back, a little nervous myself. I really, really hope TJ doesn't completely lose it. And he did. I rinsed the blood off my arm in the dirty theme park bathroom. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been, though TJ did start crying when we hit the first inversion. He had scratched the shit out of my forearm, grabbing it with both paws once we started the descent. Unfortunately, Flynn and Carl were still on the platform when we rolled back into the boarding station. Flynn looked ready to lay into TJ again, but when he saw the tears, he had the decency to hold back. I helped the shaking lynx out of the car, and somehow we managed to stumble into the bathroom, where he quickly hid in the stall. I should have forced him out the exit. He'd always had this anxiety. I should have forced him out the exit. He'd always had this anxiety problem, though. I think we all believed it was a childhood thing that he'd gotten over. I don't know if he still takes medication. Hey, TJ. Yeah? We should probably get back. Leo texted me that they're all waiting by the ride. Yeah, I'll be out in a second. The cheerfulness in his voice is forced. I ignore the weird looks I'm getting from the other people in the bathroom and instead inspect my arm. The scratches are pretty superficial, so the bleeding has stopped. No one would notice it under the thick fur, even if it's tender as hell. I hear the stall door open behind me, and through the mirror I see TJ come out. He sees me looking over my arm, and his face crumbles up again. Chase, I'm sorry. Is it that bad? I really don't want him to start crying again. TJ cried a lot when he was a kid, almost every day, and even at 19, it seems like he's still pretty susceptible. It's fine, it doesn't even hurt. Oh, well, that's good. We stand there awkwardly for a few seconds. Then I air out my shirt, which was starting to get slick with my sweaty body. Listen, it's honestly getting way too hot for me to wait in lines all day. I think I'd rather just sit down and watch some shows or something. Oh yeah? Yeah, you want to do that with me? TJ's ears come up a little, and he clutches his paws together, the fidgeting subsiding a bit. Yeah, Chase, I think that'll be fun. I can tell he's at least a little relieved. We both head back towards the rides, and I spot the four of them waiting by the exit. I furrow my brow as I spot Carl crouched on the ground, Jenna kneeling next to him and rubbing his back. Hey, everything alright? Jenna looks up with a sympathetic smile of her own. Carl's not feeling too good. You want to sit on a bench or something? If I move, I'm gonna... That's what you get for stuffing your face right before the ride. You think they sell ginger pills here? Or ginger ale, at least? Ugh, a joint would be nice. There's some vendors over there. I'll go check. I'm actually kind of glad everyone's preoccupied with Carl right now. Take some of the heat off of TJ. Let's move you to the bench. It'll be better if you're sitting down. Slowly, Jenna and Leo lift Carl up, and now I see from his face that he really is ill. To the average person, our little outing might already seem like a disaster, but this is pretty typical for us. Nothing ever went according to plan. We sit Carl down at a bench, and he bends over. His face is in his hands as he moans softly. Oh. TJ comes back with a medium-sized cup in his paws. He sits next to Carl. No ginger ale, but they did have some lime soda. Carl takes it and sips a bit of it before sitting back and belching. Fuck it. I'm done, guys. What? All you're gonna do all day is sit here? Actually, me and Chase are gonna go see some of the shows. You can come with us. Ugh. Guys, we were doing this to hang out with each other, remember? Oh, leave him. We're wasting time. Flynn turns and walks off, his hands shoved in his pockets, hunched like a stone gargoyle. He definitely looks the part, being a lizard. Damn, that was probably a bit specious. Well, we all have our phones. Text us alright. Sure. Jenna turns and follows Flynn, but Leo hesitates a moment. He looks at me before eventually turning to follow Jenna and Flynn. Flynn and Jenna. 5 minutes later, Carl's stomach settles to the point where he's able to get up and walk. At this point, I'm completely wiped out and I just want to sit down. I point out the first stage we see and they agree. I sigh gratefully when I sit down. You look tired as shit. Actually, I'm gonna really quickly lower the volume on this. And this does not control the volume. What about this? Oh, yeah, there we go. Back. I crack an eye open to see Carl giving me a sidelong glance. I didn't sleep very well in the motel beds. I actually woke up around 2. You were gone. Now TJ looking at me, too. I feel my gut clench for a second. Yeah, I tried to go for a walk down the street. Hoped it would help me get tired. Well, if that happens again, you can just walk over to my house. I'm up like 3 every night. Wow. Carl shrugs, leaning back and sticking his hooves up against the chair in front of him, earning him a dirty glance from its occupier. Games mostly. Sometimes I read. Carl rubs his chin, opening his mouth, closing it, then opening it again. You know, it would be pretty cool if you spent one night of these days. If you spent the night one of these days, that house can be creepy as hell when you're the only one in it. You're alone? Yeah, parents are vacationing in the regal paradise, having a bloody good time, they tell me. Carl tries to put an accent, but it doesn't do a very good job of it. Oh, did you want to go with them? Carl blows a raspberry, laughing. Heh, not really. Mom told me right away that weed isn't legal there, either, so I took that as them not wanting me to come along. Oh. They did say that the chocolate there is real, whatever that means, and that they're bringing me some. Guess I'm not enough of a fat ass yet. Come on, Carl. But dude, I'm getting there, soon. All I have to do is stand in front of the mirror, block out my face, and jerk into my moves. I make a dumb snorting, croaking sound, and I can feel TJ looking at the two of us disapprovingly. Not the hardest thing to do when you're high. Wait, so you've actually done it? Carl shrugs, smirking at me. I reach out and grab his chest. From what I can tell, there's a pretty firm set of pecs under there. Carl puts a mocking, horrified look on his face. Sexual assault! He touched my breasts. Oh, whatever, Carl. They're harder than mine. So now we're teenage girls in a locker room comparing racks. Hey, you're the one that brought up tits. You know what? I can see it, yeah. You're the hot preppy one everyone likes. I'm the fat chick you're all nice to, but call Big Thunder Mountain behind her back. And TJ hadn't been paying attention, distracted with watching some dancers come on stage. He looks innocently at us. Huh? You're the cute, naive Christian chick that only takes it up the butt, so has to stay a virgin. What? Let me feel your boobs. I want to compare. What in the world are you two? No! Small, but perky. After a few seconds of tussling and Carl getting smacked in the nose by TJ, somebody shushes us from behind and we're forced into silence. The show starts off with a bunch of mice having a weird sort of hoedown. TJ really is into it and actually starts clapping along. I smile. TJ could definitely be kinda cute sometimes. Carl just rubs his nose and leans back, watching with a smirk as if the whole thing is a joke to him. At this point, my eyelids were feeling really heavy. At most, I'd gotten my maybe 4 hours of sleep last night. I think about leaning my head back, but the backs of the seats are pretty low and I'd end up with my head hanging over the back. Leaning forward would be impossible. I could just lean on one of my friends. I don't think they'd mind. I'm gonna lean on Carl. Where's the mouse there? Carl is definitely the better choice. Bigger and probably softer. He'd make a nice pillow. Carl, I'm gonna use you as my bed. Huh? I put my head on his shoulder and close my eyes, feeling the soft, puffy, sleeveless hoodie and his bulk under my cheek. It's not sleeveless, it has sleeves. Weirdly enough, it was pretty damn sturdy. I had expected him to be like a pillow puff. Damn, Chase, you that tired? Mm-hmm. Well, alright then. I feel him shift and suddenly he's pulled the arm across the back of the bench, giving me more support. The gesture makes me feel a little warm. I can feel TJ's eyes on us, but I ignore him, enjoying the position of intimacy. The sound of clapping and fiddling starts to drift away as the lack of sleep takes its toll. I feel along the rough edges of the rock and dirt. The only thing I hear is the shower of debris I'm knocking to the ground. The air is stale, and I have the vague feeling that I'm suffocating. I keep going. I'm gonna reach the end eventually. Just have to keep moving. I can tell that I'm going down. Deeper and deeper. The space around me is growing smaller and smaller, and soon I'm hunched so that my head doesn't scrape the ceiling. I hear footsteps, not quite in synchronicity with my own. They aren't any kind of footsteps that I've heard before, though. I stop and listen. There's definitely the sound of feet, but not like they're walking. It's just like they're stamping down on the ground, making as much noise as possible. This is accompanied by a slapping sound, as if someone is smacking their paws on the ground as well. I imagine a canine toddler still insisting on walking on all fours while throwing a tantrum. It's heavier, though. like an adult is doing it. That image makes the nape of my neck, the nape of my neck prickle. But I'm not scared. It's not long after I stop that the noise stops as well, just 10 feet behind me. I turn, watching the darkness. I knew you'd come back. They always do. My voice sounds clogged, muted, like the rocky walls are just sucking up the sound instead of bouncing them down the tunnel. The stamping starts up again, loudly, coming towards me at full speed. Now I can hear the sobbing and sniffling and a strange guttural grunting. It's just feet away. You're only moving in circles. It veers away just as the words leave my mouth, going back the way it came. I stand there a while, listening until I can't hear it anymore. I turn and continue on, feeling the walls again as I make my way lower and lower. The smell hits me right as my paws hit it, slick and slippery. Blood coats the walls. My paws run along like thick oil. Blood coats the wall. My paws run along like thick oil. It's warm and fresh, and now I am getting close, and a voice abruptly echoes down the tunnel. It's not far away at all. I knew you'd come back. They always do. I make my way closer and closer now. Fear pricks my heart. They always do. I hear muffled screams now, as if someone is yelling with their mouths closed. Now the fur is standing up all over my body, but my feet won't stop. I keep going. I'm getting closer and closer. You're only moving in circles. I'm here. It's right here in front of me, and now I'm reaching out to it. Reach out to touch it. I can't stop. I can't stop. Gasp! I jump, my head jerks up and sees my eyes snap open. Looking around wildly, it's like I just came up from being underwater for too long. Shit. Whoa. TJ and Carl both jump shortly after I do. I look back and forth as they stare wide-eyed back at me. It takes me a second to realize I'm still at the Southwestern Adventures, at the stage, watching shows. Jesus fuck, dude, you alright? Carl! I lean forward and rub my face in my paws, trying to stop shaking. I'm fine, I'm just a really bad dream. I feel a small paw on my back as TJ rubs it. What about? I'm not really sure. Just a really dark place and some things were in there. Huh, that does sound pretty creepy. What kind of things? I think for a minute. The weird crawling thing, the screaming thing. I pull my head up looking towards the stage, which is empty right now. It doesn't really matter. It was just a dream. Hey, what happened to the show? Carl chuckles next to me, leaning back again. You missed them, dude. We've seen like 3 shows. TJ? Yeah, they even had a segment with otters doing water tricks. We thought about waking you up for it, but you were in a really, really deep sleep. That's too bad. I always love seeing my people laughed at for the swimming clowns that they are. How long's it been? Carl checks his phone, which he already has out. Been about 3 hours. Could probably get some lunch now. Damn, I've been out for a while. I'm surprised I hadn't at least woken up a few times considering the uncomfortable position I'd been in. I guess you feel better then? Yeah, I've been feeling better for the past 2 hours. Now I'm hungry. It's already 2 p.m. and I've composed myself for the most part, so I take my phone out to text Leo. We're kinda hungry. We should meet back up. He gets back to me pretty quickly. Okay, mostly done with rides and way. Meet at food court. I get mad when people text like that, like write it in a complete sentence. We meet Flynn at the table in the food court where he's already brought some pizza. Carl immediately sits down and pries open the box, taking out a few slices. Ugh, of course you guys. Of course. You guys have fun? It was alright, watched a few shows about our state's species history. Chase took a nap. Flynn eyes TJ, who doesn't say anything as he sits to take out his own slice of pizza, a bit more daintily than Carl had. Feeling better, Tej? Yeah, I'm fine. TJ nibbles on his slice of cheese pizza. Yeah, well, the pizza here is a hell of a lot scarier than any of the rides, so you're braver than I am. Where's Leo and Jenna? Flynn rolls his eyes and nods towards a row of carnival games to the right of the court. Fighting? They've been playing those games for fucking half an hour already. I'm not surprised. I grab my own slice of pizza and a napkin and make my way over there. Keeping with the theme of the Old West, the carnival section of the park is decked out with fake saloons and brothels. I spot them pretty quickly, Leo holding a pink unicorn and Jenna carrying a green dragon. They seem to be in pretty good spirits, though Leo's grin is a little tight. Looks like a pretty successful haul, you guys. Hey, Chase. Jenna's grinning, looking a little smug as usual. You guys finish? We're eating now. Leo shifts the giant unicorn around. Yeah, we're pretty much done, I think. Damn, Leo, you must have won something pretty hard to get that. Yeah, that was me. I look over at the green dragon Jenna's holding. But what about that? I won this too. Oh, well, I'm sure you've won a couple. Actually? Yeah, I've beaten him at every game. Ha ha ha. Yeah, well, you're visiting. I want your memories of the vacation to be good. Obviously, it's getting to your head, though. Oh, please. Chase, you should have seen his face, sour grapes the whole time. Oh, really? I usually stay out of stuff like this. Leo always gets a little carried away when it comes to competition, especially when I was around, but it was kind of funny seeing him act like that. Let's just go eat. Wait, there's a high striker. Why don't we show Chase who's stronger, Leo contemplates that for a second, but seems pretty confident about this one. He's literally almost twice the size of Jenna. Well, maybe like a head taller. I don't know if that's very fair to you, Jenna. I mean, he lets that sit, and honestly, I have to agree. Jenna, though, gets a little fox gleam in her eyes that I know meant she thought she knew something we didn't. Afraid I'm gonna woo your ex? Wow, Jenna's going all out. My muzzle flushes under the fur, but that only seems to decide things for Leo. A confident smile replaces that sheepish one from before. Oh yeah? He flexes his shoulders and sticks out that stuffed unicorn to me. I stuff the last of the crust into my mouth and reach out to take it. Jenna does the same, and now I'm hugging two massive stuffed animals to my sides, tripling my girth. Alright, let's do this. Step right up, test your strength, $3, 3 tries, ring the bell, and win a prize. I'd like to try. Ah, we have a taker, big strong wolf like you would have no problem at all. $3 please. Leo hands over the money, and the carny hands him a mallet. Leo points it at me with a grin. This one's for you, chula. My heart skips a beat. He hasn't called me that in a while, but I decide to play along. Don't disappoint me, Leo. I want that stuffed griffin. I point to the griffin on the carny's long shelf of toys. Sure thing. Leo spreads his legs, squares his shoulders before raising the hammer and bringing it down hard onto the rubber-looking pad. It's a pretty hard hit, but the chaser only raises up to the 40 mark. Oh, almost, Sir Wolf. Try again. Leo's brows furrow, and now I'm not so sure this was a good idea. He raises the mallet again and grunts as he brings it down even harder, causing the contraption to shake a little. This time the chaser shoots up to the 70 mark. Even better this time. Put your back into it. I can hear Leo growling a little as he raises the mallet a final time and brings it down with a snarl, all the muscles in his arms standing out. I'm pretty sure I felt the ground shake this time, as the impact causes more than a few heads to turn. This time, the chaser only goes up to the 60 mark. Leo gapes at the game. So close! $3 more will get you 3 more tries. Would you like to try again? Nope, my turn. Jenna already has her money ready and hands it to the carny. Oh ho, a little battle between the sexes, I see. Well, step right up, fair fox maiden. How will you fare against the big bad wolf? Leo reluctantly hands the mallet to Jenna, and I'm sorry I hit the mic. Alright, beat 70. Jenna points the mallet at me, winking. Don't worry, Chase. I'll get that griffin for you. Leo snorts loudly, folding his arms and looking pretty annoyed. Good luck. I was hitting that thing as... Before he can finish, Jenna raises the mallet into the air and puts it into a graceful swing. It's as if she was chopping wood as she brings it down hard into the rubber pad. It lands precisely and cleanly, in sharp contrast with Leo's sloppy hits. I stare. Leo stares. The carny stares. Jenna simply raises her paw in the air. Yay! A few onlookers around us laugh and cheer. Oh my, the fair fox has won. Come over and pick your prize. He glances at Leo. Sorry, buddy. The carny shoots a sympathetic but also amused smile Leo's way before turning to the onlookers. See that? A female fox, half the size of this male wolf, has rung the bell. Could one of you be next? Leo looks mortified, but quickly changes his expression to a sheepish grin. He doesn't seem to want to look at me. Good job, Jenna. Jenna bounds back to us, carrying the big stuffed griffin. Give those ones to Leo. I can give you this. I hand off the stuffed toys to Leo, who grumbles a bit as he takes them. Damn thing's rigged. Jenna hands me the griffin. Thanks, Jenna. That was really... She leans over and pecks me on the cheek. I see Leo's eyes widen as she does it, his ear standing straight up. Aw, it was nothing. Leo stands there for a few more seconds, working his jaw. Awesome. He turns away and leaves, his arms still wrapped around the giant stuffed toys. Jenna starts laughing. Jenna! Oh, hush. He'll get over it. He's just so damn fun to tease. I have to agree, but not when I'm being used to do the teasing. He's still really sensitive about that whole thing. You guys talk it over, didn't you? Anyway, aren't you gay? I take a deep breath. Me personally, yes. Yeah. See, he's got nothing to worry about. I'm not in the mood to go into depth about my sexuality. Saying anything else confuses people. I sigh and rub my eyes with the paw, still a little tired. Hey, don't tell Leo that I work at a state fair every year. I wasn't planning on it. So she cheated. Well, sort of. The rest of the day is pretty relaxing. We ride a few of the more mellow rides. Leo seems to cheer up when I volunteer to sit next to him on the Ferris wheel. TJ even built up the courage, to point where he rode the swinging ships. Flynn and Carl roll the slingshot ride together, and with the video feed from the ground, I think it's the first time I ever see Flynn scared. Carl did end up barfing after that one. By around 6 p.m., everyone's tired enough that we agree to head back. I'm still exhausted, so I sleep for half an hour it takes us to get back to the motel. For the half an hour. When we do get back, I notice how good the sun looks right now. With a sigh, I remind myself I'm here to actually get a project done, not just play around. So as everyone sits in the motel, I let them know that I'm about to shoot some B-roll, gathering up my equipment and heading out into the heat. Dragging it outside, I set it up, sweating even under the evening light. Even this late in the afternoon, the heat was pissing me off. For some reason, it's a lot cooler in Pueblo. My mind drifts back to the many days of summer under the blazing sun, the temperature rarely dipping below 100. I'm amazed poor TJ never had a heat stroke. When I put my eyes to the viewfinder, I'm a bit disappointed at how broken down the town looks, even with the amazing backdrop. What a dump. I'll say. It's then that I hear footsteps and talking behind me. I pause my recording and turn around. How's the filming? It's alright. Kind of run out of sun, but it's okay. Echo looks kind of crappy no matter what kind of light you shoot it in. Do you need us to keep quiet? Nah. I'm just shooting B-roll. What about, was about to come back in. Let's stay out here for a minute. Carl and Flynn are getting a little loud. Besides, I want to talk to you too. He wraps an arm around Jenna and reaches out another one to pull me in so that we're both flanking him. I feel my shoulders press into his warm bulk of his side and chest. He'd always been taller than me, my eyes barely came up to his chin, but now it seems like he was almost twice the width. He definitely put on a bit more muscle since I last saw him. While he was actually pretty muscular, he'd been more on the lean side. Now his chest and biceps pulled his shirt tight. It felt nice, though, like something very sturdy wrapped in velvet. I suppose it was a mixture of adding on both muscle and fat. I'm at least happy to see he's gotten over his little defeat to Jenna. Look at us go, the OG crew. Leo's strong voice vibrates from his body into mine. The effect is tranquilizing, and I feel myself relax. Together again. The only thing I miss about this town. Leo is referring to the fact that he and Jenna and I were the original 3 in our group of 6 to become friends. Later he would add TJ, then Carl, and finally Flynn, and Sydney. Leo had really been the one to unite us all. I remember when you first got here, everyone was afraid of you. I remember when I first got here, I found a bunch of gringos who wouldn't even talk to each other. We all went to the same schools in Peyton and had our little different friends there. When Leo moved in, he thought it was strange that the kids in Echo didn't hang out together. As I entered middle school and high school, I cycled through a ton of different friends, but the ones in Echo always stayed the same. Remember when we'd always get sleepovers at Chase's place? Of course, I'd kick your ass at Claws of Fury all the time. I remember, I used to think you guys were only friends with me for the video games. Many times I'd fallen asleep to the flickering of the old CRTV television set, watching the outlines of Jenna and Leo twist side to side as they played. I would wake up hours later only to find them still playing. It was weird. Jenna and Leo get along really well, but there is a bit of a competitive streak between the two. Actually, it's one of the few things that gets Leo genuinely angry. I think he even broke one of my controllers once. How long has it been since we first met? Well, when did you move in? I think it was 2000s. So take 2015 and subtract 2000. What does that leave you with, Leo? Leo looks sideways at me and smirks. There's a flash of white canine as it appears from under his lip for a moment. You think yourself a real hotshot now that you're in college, eh? I smirk back, though. I know my canines aren't as impressive. Pretty much, yeah. Well, you'll always be those little brats to me. I feel Leo's wagging tail swat me in the butt. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Speaking of which, are you two getting along over there? Jenna looks at me around Leo's broad chest. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, we haven't had many chances to hang out. Eh? Why not? Well, it's college. It's also a pretty large university. I don't even think we've even seen each other in passing. Yeah, things are a bit different, but Jenna, we should do something together soon, before we graduate. Definitely. Leo still looks a little bit disappointed that me and Jenna aren't keeping up at the university, but I don't know why. She had her friends, and I had mine, and we did talk sometimes. Jenna nudges into Leo, causing us all to sway. And speaking of that, when are you going back to Mesa? Mesa is the community college in Peyton. Leo went there for a few semesters before taking a break. And by break, I mean he quit. Well, we'll see. I have to talk to my parents. It's just starting to get really busy. Why don't they hire more people? You know, you would have graduated by now. You would have had your master's by now. Leo sighs. It's about committing to the family business, not the help he needs. Jenna rolls her eyes, blowing out some air and ruffling the top of her on her head. Wolves and their families. You should try thinking and speaking for yourself sometime. If I hadn't done that, I'd be still stuck in that crack house. Jenna flicks her head vaguely in the direction of where she used to live. Jenna is the only one, aside from Carl, who still has family living in Echo. I wonder if she's going to visit them, even though I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to that. I see Leo tighten his arm around her shoulder, but she goes on without missing a beat. And you can start with our otter here. I look up, caught unawares. What? Jenna, I'm serious. Jenna puts her paws up in Leo's face, cutting him off. I am not going to spend this entire week with you asking me when or how you should do it. Let's rip off the band-aid now. Chase? Jenna? There's a warning tone in Leo's voice as he pins back his ears and drops his arms from our shoulders. I already know what's happening. It's been a long time coming. I take a step back and fold my arms, looking to the side. Chase, Leo has some things to say to you, and yes, it's about that. Now I'm going to head back in and make sure Carl doesn't light up in the bathroom. Jenna! His tone changes to exasperation as Jenna turns on her heels and leaves. Judging by the curl in her tail, I can tell that she's pretty satisfied with what she's done. I've returned my attention to the road. I couldn't really bring myself to look at him right now. We both stand there for a minute, 3 feet apart. You should be 6 feet apart. For COVID. I hear Leo scruff the ground with his foot, then sniff as the dust rises up from the ground. I hear him draw in a breath a few times as if he's going to say something, but ends up blowing it out with a sigh. We were never good at this, probably why it ended up failing like it did. Leo? I'm sorry, Chase. For what? Not talking to you about this when I should have. You're talking to Jenna about it when I should have been talking to you. He reaches out and sets upon my shoulder, the silver anchor on his wrist glinting just a bit in the fading light. He's smiling at me, but I grit my teeth. Why are you still wearing that? His eyes flick from the bracelet, then back to my face, expression turning defensive. Why aren't you still wearing yours? Don't you remember what we said? I sigh, looking at the scattering of clouds behind Leo's head. They're tinged a soft pink from the fading sun. The sunset is almost the same color as Leo's fur. Leo, we were teenagers. That's not an answer. He cuts me off and I look back at him. I told you, they weren't love bracelets. They weren't just about our relationship. They were about everything. Our friends, family, memory, Echo. I raise my voice above his, cutting him off this time. They were about Echo, Leo. We stand there a while and Leo's looking closely at me, expectantly, his ears tipped forward. His eyes pierce me like amber shards. It was always hard to look at him in the eye during our arguments. What do I have to say? Alright, fine. I fucking hate this place. Everything about it. It's the most miserable goddamn place I've been. How many places have you been? Enough to know that this is miserable. Most everyone here is old, obese, on welfare. Half of them are probably on meth. Leo pulls in a deep breath and blows it out over my head. I can smell the bell peppers on his breath. No one likes it here, Chase. I mean, it was an anchor. I'm half laughing. Just looking at it made me feel like I was still tied down to this town. I didn't need it reminding me of all that awful stuff. I know it was supposed to symbolize our being each other's rocks or whatever, but it stands for a lot more than that. But a lot of good things happen here too. No one should forget where they come from. Sometimes I wish I could. At this point, Leo's deflated a bit, going into a slouch, his ears lowered. Wait, you said was. You didn't get rid of? No, I still have it. It's just in a drawer in my dorm room. Honestly, if it was anything else, like one of those infinity bracelets we saw, I wouldn't have trouble wearing it. Well, fuck, why didn't you say anything when we were buying them? I didn't know it was going to be a problem. Leo takes a deep breath again before blowing it out, puffing out his cheeks this time. Uchika otter. What does that word mean? He puts it on his eyes and holds it there for a few seconds. It's a pose I'm pretty familiar with. Even though I haven't seen it in a few years, I'm hit with a wave of memories, mostly of me frustrating or embarrassing Leo somehow. We decided on the anchors mostly because they looked pretty. Leo had referenced some wolf metaphor about roots, and how we're always drawn back to them. Also some bullshit about how otters were great sailors, but really, it was just the aesthetic. For some reason over the years, I'd begun to associate the anchor with being stuck in Echo. It was then that I started connecting the anchor to Sydney, that I'd taken it off. It was too much. Anyway, Leo brings me back to the present and I focus back on him. What I was trying to say was, I'm still not okay with how you left. Leo, I said I was sorry and I'm still on, or how you stopped talking to me for a while. Okay, I was a kid. I thought I had a good tactic, like Jenna said, rip the band-aid off, you know. We did start talking again. It was more like you punching me in the gut than kicking me in the balls. The problem was that you didn't even give me a chance to say anything, or at least tell me why, before you broke it off. I stay silent for a while, then finally look up, setting my jaw. Like I said, I was young and dumb. I didn't know how to handle it. I can keep apologizing, or we can move on and make the most of it. We only have 1 week, and I want to have fun. Leo looks to the side, paws on his hips, as if contemplating, then looks back at me with a smile. Alright, fine. But don't think you're off the hook. I still want to talk soon. Soon. Just not right now. I stand there awkwardly for a few moments, then, because it feels appropriate, I step in to give him a hug. That's not appropriate. He takes it willingly, and he's warm and strong. For a moment, I wonder why the hell I dumped this guy. Just then, someone lays on the horn as they drive past us, pulling me out of my rear. Facts! I lean back so I can watch the car speed down the empty road. Leo keeps holding me, though, and he just chuckles. Echo hasn't changed much, has it? No, it hasn't. As we're saying our goodbyes, I remind Leo about the shots I need of the lake. He says he'll talk to the other two about it after they leave. We all say our goodbyes before Leo, Carl, and Flynn take off. TJ takes his usual hour getting ready for bed, while Jenna does some schoolwork. By the time I'm finished brushing my teeth, I'm grateful to see both of them in bed. I get under the covers next to TJ and lay there for about an hour, staring at the ceiling. Slowly, I slide out from under the covers and careful not to wake TJ. Quietly, I slip my jeans on and grab my jacket before heading out the door. Toby builds a small castle next to the lake, in the process of digging a moat around it. Jenna drops a few twigs next to it, before running off to find more decorations. Flynn is talking to Sydney, pointing at Toby's sandcastle. Sydney looks hesitant, but excited. He seems to make up his mind, suddenly running forward and kicking the top of the tallest castle. It breaks easily, with most of it flying into Toby's face. Toby flinches back, shocked, before immediately crying as he rubs his eyes. Jenna comes running from across the beach, yelling before shoving at Sydney, who's laughing. She turns to Toby, trying to help him clean his face, but the Lynx pushes her away before running towards the trail back to Echo. Monday. Yacht River feeds Emma Lake from the north. It's a farther drive than the lake itself, but it does have a few nice clearings along its edge. One of them has a few benches and a rusted-to-hell public grill that I'm sure no one has used in decades. This is the place that we go. As we're unloading Leo's van, I decide to get some B-roll of the lake right away. It would have much of a presence in the packet, so I think I'm just going to narrate over it later. The actual lake is only a few minutes walk from here. It's a bit difficult navigating around the sagebrush, and I know I'm going to have to check for ticks later. By the time I reach the lake, my friends are pretty far behind me, hidden behind a few bends and hills. I'm getting uncomfortable with the idea of me holding the camera while I navigate this terrain. It probably would have been better if Leo had just parked the car next to the reservoir while I got out to film, but I guess even that still wasn't okay. There's a large square of paved ground next to the parking lot, now several benches, and a row of brand new grills. Several lamps have been erected around the area too. Leo was right about the town trying to turn the reservoir into a recreational spot. I can actually see a few jet boats skimming through the water, leaving behind trails of white behind them. There's even what looks like a feline of some sort fishing in the shallows. It would explain why the motel is still in business. Lake Emma is fairly small, only about 12 miles long and 5 wide. I look around before climbing to the top of the nearby hills and get my shots. Even with a few people here, it's still pretty quiet, aside from the train horns, and it's kind of eerie. I wrap up and start to quickly make my way back. It's hard to explain why I'm getting freaked out in broad daylight with people around. Either it's because of what happened all those years ago, or I'm just psyching myself up. I'm glad to hear my friends' voices again as I get closer. Then again, it sounds like they're fighting. Been acting like a dick all day. Be glad I came here at all. Apparently, it would have been better if you hadn't. Maybe I should have just fucking leave then. It sounds a lot more serious than our usual squabbles, so I quicken my pace. They seem to quiet down a bit once they see me coming. TJ's off to the side, looking out over the river, occasionally throwing a rock into it. Carl sits in a lawn chair, one of the 6 that have been set out in a semicircle. He has his chin on a fist as he lazily stares at me. Jenna and Leo both stand next to each other, looking at Flynn, who's got his back turned, rummaging through the cooler. Hey, what's wrong? Leo sighs. Nothing. You get your film? Yeah, got it. The silence is still awkward, and I have no idea what the hell to do with myself. I finally realize that I'm still holding the camera and decide to put that away. Hey, I'm gonna go for a quick swim. Haven't been in the water a while. When we first got here, I was completely disappointed to find that the motel didn't have its own swimming pool. Being an otter, I like to swim at least once a day, if not more. At this point, it had been 3. Flynn finally turns around, a beer in his hand as he cracks it open. It was true that he'd been acting a bit strange today. He'd held the entire trip up by a few hours, and when we'd finally shown up, with his eyes were bleary, and he seemed sluggish, like he'd been up all night. When we'd asked if he was alright, he brushed us off. Yeah, thanks for helping set up Chase. You're about as useful as the fat ass here. He swings the paw holding the beer at Carl. Flynn. So enjoy that swim while I set everything out. Yeah, I will. Make my soda a diet while you're at it. I've had it with Flynn. He's souring the trip with his need to be an asshole. Go fuck yourself. I ignore him as I strip off my shirt and head to the riverbank. I pat TJ on the shoulder as I pass him before slipping into the water. We're currently in the middle of a drought that has lasted the past 3 years, so the water is low, only about 10 feet at its deepest. It's enough though, and God, it feels good. It's spring, so the water is pretty cold. I swim back and forth a few times before finally diving in. Eventually, I settle on drifting to the bottom, laying and gripping on the rocky floor as I stare up at the shimmering light above me. I feel the gentle current run over my body. It's nice to be away from all the tension above me. I feel isolated, alone, and for now, that feels good. None of the others could swim down this deep, only I was able to. I remember when we were younger, I would give the others rides around the lake, able to swim its entire length and back. Even Flynn, the asshole, had done it a few times. It was one skill I had that I was proud of, even if it was inherent to my species. It still made me somehow useful, or at least different from everyone else, in a good way. I had always felt like the odd one out in the group, as strange as it sounded. Where everyone else had a strong, distinctive personality, I was just average. Sometimes I wonder if they were just friends with me because they all had to be when we were younger. This whole trip was kind of forced me into to think back on all the memories I've had of this place and of my friends. They were always doing the cool things, being different, while I just sort of blended into the background. Even when I wanted to do something, to stand out somehow, that's what I'm trying to do here, I guess. It's been about 7 minutes, and I only know that because that's about as long as I can hold my breath. I decided I should just go back up and help out. So I slowly let myself float back up towards the surface, trying to stay in the same spot. When I surface, it's pretty quiet. For a second, I wonder if everyone's just gone. Of course, that's ridiculous, and I come over to the embankment. Everyone's there. Predictably, Flynn didn't get my food out, so I go to the cooler to grab the sandwich and soda before sitting in an empty chair next to Leo. Apparently, it was a good idea to bring long chairs, considering the tables looked like they were covered in years' worth of bird shit. How was swim? His tone is bitter and salty. He's not in his usual grumpy but good-natured mood. He's genuinely unhappy. What the hell was his deal? Amazing. I'm gonna have to come back here again sometime during the week. You lizard people don't understand. You hardly ever need water. It always scares the hell out of me when you're down there that long. I'm built for it. Remember when you gave us rides? That was fun. Remember when you'd always scream like a little girl when Chase would go out too far deep? Oh wow, I remember that. Hey, I've never really liked the water. Anyway, Chase would do it on purpose. He knew I didn't like it out at a certain point. Carl looks at me. You know what was really cool? When would you take us down for a dive? Oh yeah, Chase was like our own little submarine. I'm starting to get that otters are swimming clowns vibe again. Still, I enjoy the attention. We'd get you to take us all the way to the bottom so we could look for treasure. Leo makes air quotes around the last word. And you know, we probably would have found way more stuff if you guys hadn't been dragging me down. I remember when... Are you really fucking talking about this? Everyone turns to look at Flynn. His voice is low and dangerous. There's a chill in the air because we all know what he means. I was actually feeling pretty good about it at this point, like we crossed the bridge, being able to talk about it for once. Apparently we hadn't. Flynn? No, I'm serious. Do you think it's okay to fucking talk about this when the lake is just a quarter-mile that way? You know what, Flynn? I think we should. Isn't that part of the reason why we're here? No! If that were the case, we'd be over there, but we're here. And why is that? Everyone's quiet for a moment, and I see TJ shrink into his chair, staring hard at his lap. Flynn, we came here because Chase needed the footage. A change comes over Flynn. His face darkens, and everyone senses it. Flynn turns to me, and it takes some effort not to flinch back. Yeah, and why is that, Chase? You gonna put that in your fucking documentary? No, like Emma is an important part of Echo's history. Just what? Flynn raises his brow ridge at me, and finally, I just lower my eyes. This is a stupid fucking idea. You know what, Flynn? If you'd be a little more open, tell us what's on your mind, we'd be able to avoid this kind of stuff. Oh, you want to know what's on my mind? Flynn swivels and marches up to Carl. Alright, let's start with you. You fat, lazy, no motivation, no future. What the hell are you planning on doing with your life? Sit there, waste away in Echo, mooching off your parents until they're dead, or you're dead? Carl stares back at Flynn, impassively, though he hunches in on himself a bit further. Flynn, don't do this right now. And you, thinking you're better than everyone else, I can tell. You think everyone in Echo is trash. Just because me and the others haven't left, you think we're lower than you, just because we don't have an education, we're a bunch of retards? Yeah, well, you left your whole fucking family behind without even saying goodbye. You know what's even going on with them right now? What they're dealing with? Yeah, real fucking hero you are. You think Stop it, Flynn. Our unquestionable leader. We wouldn't have been friends without you, would we? That's why you brought us here, right? So we could all bond? Or, wait, was it just because you wanted to get into Chase's pants? Leo's ears fall flat. Probably. You've been a mess ever since he left. So let me be the one to tell you. It's over. It's fucking unhealthy. You're obsessed with him. Slowly his head turns to me and I brace myself. And I can't imagine why. You, Chase, have the personality of a fucking rock. I wish you could see yourself. You just sit there like a creep watching everyone, weighing everything that we say. And I don't think I haven't caught you the way you stare at us all, like we're all objects to be collected. What, are you just planning to cycle through all of us for sex? Sure, it seems like it. Flynn stops, then exhales. It seems like it's over. I really hope it is. That proves futile though, as Flynn turns slowly on TJ. I had silently prayed that the lynx would make a run for it while Flynn had all his attention focused on us, but TJ looks apathetic, like a statue, like there's no soul in him. Flynn pauses though, as if he's at a loss for what to say. Finally, "What happened, TJ?" "Flynn?" Leo stands up, and from his posture I can tell the wolf is ready to fight. Memories are starting to flow back. TJ, Flynn, thinking he'd done something too. I stand up too. Flynn may sound like a hard ass, but physically Leo had him beat easily. Flynn can obviously tell that he might have a fight on his hands though, and it's clear he doesn't want that. He drops his shoulders, seeming to shrink as if invisible strings that had been holding him up were cut. He turns on us, then gestures at TJ. "I just want the truth. Can we just put a stop to this today? Right now? I don't think you know how much of a nightmare it has been for me, not really knowing." "TJ." TJ stares up at Flynn, muzzle still grimly. "What happened to Sydney?" It's dead quiet. TJ stares at his lap, not moving. "Come on, let's." Flynn holds up a hand towards me, still staring at TJ. Slowly, TJ looks up, his face still stoic, still made of stone. "I already told you what happened." "Bullshit!" Flynn steps forward, but Leo is there to grab the back of Flynn's shirt and swing him around. I dodge out of the way as Flynn is flung back to land on his ass, kicking up a big cloud of dust. "Shit!" "Flynn, I swear to God, if you start a fight here, I'll drop your stupid ass." Everyone except TJ is standing now, staring at Flynn. Flynn sits there, glaring up at Leo, obviously weighing his chances. He seems to come up short though, as he spits to the side and stands up, brushing off his pants as he turns away. "You're all okay with not knowing? Fuck all of you." He turns back around, hands in his pockets, a bitter look on his face. "This whole thing is stupid, Leo. We're not even friends anymore." Flynn scuffs the ground before turning and walking towards the trail that goes back to Echo. "God damn it, Flynn. Fuck off." Flynn keeps walking back, and it's pretty clear that he isn't coming back. I raise a paw and rub it over my eyes. What was he doing? He's a passionate guy that sometimes just explodes with all his insecurities before running away and hiding for a few days. He skewered us all like that before. That was classic Flynn. But he was especially mean. Dark. And that part with TJ, I vaguely remember Flynn having some sort of suspicion, but that had been a long time ago. Had he been sitting on this the whole time? I look to the left and see that TJ's gone. Carl's still sitting down, but now he looks like he's pulling out a joint. Leo's walking off down towards another trail, cursing while Jenna follows him. I stand there next to my chair, undecided. Okay, so this is where I'm going to stop it, because this is basically where you pick who your partner will be for the rest of the story. And we're first going to start with Carl, because he's technically the first one that you're supposed to go with. Then Leo, then TJ, then Flynn, and finally Jenna. So yeah, we're going to leave it there for now. So thank you for watching.